Nintendo makes about 2 Legend of Zelda titles a console, not including handhelds, and as a Legend of Zelda lover, sometimes that just isn't enough. I could replay Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time, but sometimes I'm looking for a new adventure with a Legend of Zelda feel. Thankfully, the Kingdom of Hyrule isn't too far from Kingdom of Blossom, a domain only found in the Legend of Zelda-inspired game, Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King, available for Steam and the Nintendo Switch, which is what I played it on. I know a good adventure when I see one, and when I saw Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King's trailer drop, I was like, oh, I'm getting in this. The story of Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King is told by a grandpa to his young grandchildren before bed. He speaks of a girl named Lily, a budding knight in the Kingdom of Blossom. After being knighted, she is tasked to clean out the Dungeon of Rats. Such a knightly job, I know. It's there you find the plot of the king's brother, Crocus, the High Wizard, to put the king into a deep slumber. Unfortunately, by the time Lily knows of this plan, Crocus already put the king to sleep. Din, Naru, and the disciples of the Rose, tasked the knights to finding 3 mythical ingredients to make a waking potion. Thus, your adventure begins. While it's a story we've all heard before. Grandpa, please tell us a story. Have I told you about the brave elf boy who lived in a magical land called Hyrule? Yes, like a million times. The cheeky writing makes for a fun journey. I love Blossom Tales is self-aware, poking fun at the game that inspired it. Another one of my personal favorite lines from the Cool Sword Fighting for Dummies guy. Wanna be a cool sword fighter? Then listen up. Do not use the roundhouse ability. True warriors kill their opponents one at a time in a tedious fashion. Also, avoid using long-range weapons. Chasing after foes is much cooler, especially if they're shooting deadly projectiles at you. And remember, shields are for wimps. Real heroes don't mind getting hit in the face. This act may instill fear into the hearts of the enemy, if you survive. I love this game. I really do. So the gameplay, if you ever played a Legend of Zelda game, specifically Link to the Past, you know exactly how this game works. It's a beautiful 2D action-adventure game. You go through the overworld and puzzle-littered dungeons, helping townsfolk and slaying monsters. There are items to collect, and in return you may get some stamina jewels. If you collect 4, your stamina meter increases. Alternatively, heart pieces, collect 4 and you gain another heart. While exploring, you can find items such as medallions to equip and help you on your quest. Some items are upgradable. In dungeons, you find unique items that are sometimes needed to defeat the dungeon boss, unlike most Zelda games where it's a necessity. Items do work a bit differently as well. There is no quantity, rather each item uses stamina. Run out of stamina and you cannot use any items aside from your sword. I actually like this because it means you gotta use your items with purpose, thus making this game extremely challenging. Love the variety of enemies, each one posing a different threat, and taking on different types of enemies at once can really prove difficult. Sub-boss and boss battles got rough, man. I had to pay a lot of attention to the screen, a bit too much flashing for my liking at times, very busy but still manageable. I felt the projectiles in this game added a bit of a bullet hell kind of feel. And one boss should look quite familiar. Another amazing feature of Blossom Tales is it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure game, to an extent. Since the grandfather was telling a story, sometimes the kids would argue over what Lily would fight, so you gotta choose your enemy. It happened so few times, but I wished for more of it. Just imagine your own custom Zelda game. Love it! Legend of Zelda Maker win? Also, sometimes you'd find a lone chest, and the kids would question why there's just a chest and no puzzle or enemies. The sudden interjections were cute, and you never knew what you were in for. A few other slight differences depart itself from the Legend of Zelda series is the grass actually slows you down. The spin attack or the roundhouse has a jump attack attached. And mentioned before how items consume stamina and have no quantity. Bosses take a lot more than 3 measly hits, and there are teleportation platforms that allow you to fast travel to places you've already been to. The graphics speak for themselves, and they're absolutely stunning. I look at this and I actually kinda think Octopath Traveler to a degree. Very spiffy and clean sprite work. Love seeing the rain, the droplets hitting the ground, the animations of enemies. The colors range from vibrant to muddy tones. They weren't afraid to venture to different color palettes. Each segment of the game had different environments, even different looking people. There isn't much to say here because what you see is exactly what you can expect to get. Beautiful pixel art. Lastly, the music was fantastic. You can never go wrong with chiptune music, and let me tell you, it definitely captured the Zelda spirit. Perhaps a little too close. This is Haven's Village. Do you know what classic Zelda song this sounds like? If you guessed Zelda's Lullaby, you'd be correct. It's freakishly close with those opening notes. Blossom Tales even has certain chimes when you discover a secret or opening a chest. For race events, there's even its own special music as well. The racing music makes my heart race, to be honest. Plus, each dungeon has its own music, which I always appreciate, that little extra effort that really helps set the dungeons apart. Also, boss battle and mini boss battle music were different. Again, really going that extra mile for the music. But alas, not the dungeon, boss battle, or race music gets me like the gasping marshes. I like the faint sound of rain and the creepy yet upbeat notes play in the beginning. It definitely gives the sound of uncertainty as you venture through the murky lands haunted by ghosts. This game, 9 out of 10. It's challenging, it's charming, it emulates Legend of Zelda, specifically Link to the Past. Now, I'm not going to try to tell you that it's distinct or unique and pulls everything pretty much from Legend of Zelda, but it satisfies the Legend of Zelda itch, and everything the game was supposed to do, it did, and it did it well. I cannot recommend this game enough if you're looking to, scratch that Legend of Zelda itch. My only complaint, or rather suggestion, is they could have taken it a step further with having its own identity by making it like a build your own Legend of Zelda game to an extent. Like, choose your own adventure, not so much build, but choose your own. Certain dungeon rooms could be empty, and then the grandpa could interject and be like, the puzzle was, and then give you an option of puzzles. Granted, you're gonna end up doing all the puzzles anyways, but you gotta choose which puzzle you do first. Boss battles, select 3, and you're gonna end up fighting all 3 anyways, but which one do you want first? What sounds more badass, like a golem, a giant, or a serpent, If they would have done that, I feel like it wouldn't have, changed the fact that the core is still Legend of Zelda, but it would have taken it in a slightly, different direction. On top of that, it would still stay true to Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, because in that game, you could choose what dungeon you want to do in whatever order. There's a recommended order, of course, but in Blossom Tales, there's a recommended boss you should select, but you could do any boss. I think that would have been so cool. Granted, I understand they're indie developers, that might be asking a bit much, but that's where I hope they go in their next adventure. That's really my only gripe, really more of a suggestion. That and Blossom Tales was so short. I genuinely didn't want the adventure to end. Thank you all so much for watching. Top box is more reviews like this, and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I love you all. My question is, what are some games that are clones or homages to their inspirers that you really enjoyed, like Blossom Tales is to Legend of Zelda? I look forward to your comments.